it's Abby J, and today we're talking about something a little bit tender. And I just wanted to share with you some real tips, some different perspectives on how to trust God during hard times, because it's hard. And I don't think people talk about enough how hard it is to trust God when we don't know the ending, when we don't know what's going to happen. And so often when people talk about faith and they talk about trials, they talk about it from the perspective of they're through it and they see the miracle and they see the faith and they're there and it's beautiful. What they don't talk about and what we forget is this middle part that is so incredibly frustrating, that's so incredibly hard, and that's so incredibly scary. So let's talk about how do you trust God when you are in the middle of your journey and things aren't going really well. So I've talked about this before on my channel, but it's worth repeating because it was real for me. But 2016 into 2017, like both of those years were the worst years of my life to date. And I always hate saying that because I got married in 2016. It had nothing to do with my marriage. But I'm just saying that those were the worst years for me. And now that I'm past that, and now that I am past that trial, I just think, oh, my life is so blessed and I'm so lucky, and all those things are true. But I was flipping through a journal the other night and I stumbled on some entries from 2016 to 2017. And it brought me rushing back to those emotions of feeling hopeless, of feeling like life isn't gonna get better, of like wondering, like I knew God was there. I knew He cared because I know that so deep in my soul. But you still wonder, you're like, hey, when are you going to help me? Right? When are you going to throw the life preserver? And that's what got this video going, because I thought to myself, how many people are in their own personal 2016? How many people are in the middle of their journey and are struggling? And so I hope that these three things that I want to share with you tonight can help you and pull you through that, because I've been there and I know that there's future trials ahead of me, and I know that there's future trials ahead of you, and I just know that in a world that is hard, in a world that is really trying, we have got to learn to trust God. And so what do you do when that is hard? And I want to share with you three things that you keep praying, you keep trying, and you keep believing. So why those three things? Well, let's talk about keep praying. I remember that during this time, it felt so incredibly awkward to pray to God, because not because I didn't want to, not because I didn't believe, not because I don't understand prayer is important. Like, I get all those things, but when you get on your knees and you are in the middle of a load-crushing trial, you just think to yourself, like, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? Like, God already knows. All I'm gonna do is cry. Like, that is how I felt. And so I kept like feeling like maybe I shouldn't pray just because it's so hard to vocalize it sometimes, or sometimes it's so hard to get on your knees and just admit that you need so much help and you don't even know what you need. Keep praying. There is something so beautiful about talking to your God and about getting on your knees and expressing that you need that help. It is through some of those prayers that you're going to find some answers. It's through some of those prayers that you're just going to feel peace. It's through some of those prayers that you are going to get the much needed venting that can come in no other way, because you can be so brutally honest when you are in prayer. And so I want you to keep praying. If you are somebody that's in the middle of your journey, in the middle of your trial, and you don't know exactly how much further ahead you have to go, keep praying. The second thing, keep trying. I've had quite a few friends who've gone through a crisis of faith, and I'm not pretending that I've gone through a crisis of faith. I'm just saying we all go through hard things. But some of my friends who've gone through crises of faith, they just give up and they just stop going to church, or they stop praying, or they stop believing, and they stop trying. And to me, I view that as we're in the middle of the lake, right? And things have been going great, and we have a floaty by us, and we're just having the best time. And then all of a sudden, it's not working, and our floaty is gone, and there's nobody around us, and we're so tired, and we're sinking, we're drowning, right? Keep trying, because the moment that we throw up our arms and we just say, I'm tired, I can't do this, the moment that we just stop trying to figure it out, trying to find answers, trying to just put our next foot in front of the other, is the moment that we just sit there in the water and we're like, somebody come help me, I'm drowning, right? But we're not even willing to like swim and keep trying. And I know that's really hard for a lot of people to hear, because you are trying and you're so tired and you're so done. But I do know, and I have a testimony, that the Lord loves effort. President Nelson said that. And when he said that, I just was like, yes, I know that. And it sucks. I hate that. I hate that everything good in life requires effort. So keep trying. And I know that trying can be very different. Trying can be reading your scriptures like a champ, looking for answers, saying amazing prayers, and trying can also be just getting up. And trying can also just be putting your foot in front of the next foot, so that we can actively say that we are trying our very best to get through this trial, to find faith, to find hope, and to find God in it. If you watched I forgot, I was like, what is this thing called? If you have watched my YouTube channel at all, you know that one of my biggest life mottos is that good things are ahead. And that's what the step 3 is all about, which is keep believing. There is a difference. I know it doesn't seem like it, but there is a difference between like trying and believing. To me, trying is the action. It's the, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. I'm going to church, I'm talking to people, I'm putting myself out there, I'm praying, like I'm trying to figure this out. And then the believing side of it is that I know that there's an answer. I know that there is goodness in the world. I know that God loves me. And the difference between those two is the difference between people who feel like God has abandoned them and people who come out on the other side with incredibly strong testimonies and who know that God loves them and knows them and helps support them through their trial. So what does believing look like? Well, it looks like a ton of things, right? But I personally believe it's just having that little glimmer of hope that God is aware of you, that He knows you, and that good things are ahead of you. In 2016, during this like big trials of my life, and I'm sure I'll look back later and be like, that was nothing. At the time, it was a lot to me. I just was writing in these journals that I just felt like there was no end in sight. And if there was an end, I went to the worst case scenario. I was like, well, this will happen. This has to happen for this trial to end, and it's awful. It's horrendous. And, I just I can't live with that. Guess what? That never happened. And for some people, that's going to. But the whole point of this is we don't know the end from the beginning like God does. And so we can't assume that the worst case scenario is going to happen. And honestly, there's no point in assuming, and we will anyway because that's how our brains work. So just assume the best. Assume that God has an amazing future for you. Assume that great things are ahead of you. Assume that there are so many wonderful things that you are going to get out of this that it's going to be completely worth it. That is massively simplifying it, but I hope that you can feel the spirit of this message of when you can do those 3 things of you keep praying, you keep trying, and you keep believing, trust in God grows. You can start to see the miracles. You can start to see and know that good things are ahead of you and that God has never abandoned His people. And honestly, He has never abandoned you. You can look back and look at all the great things that God has done for you. in my patriarchal blessing, it talks about that I should record some experiences that like I see the hand of the Lord in my life. And I would give that advice to anybody, because in my journals, I can see the hand of the Lord guiding me and helping me with my decisions, because those journals are written when I'm on the other side of a trial, right? And I can flip back and say, oh, here's 2016 and it sucked and I was in the middle of this trial and I had no idea that it was gonna get 10 times worse before I got 10 times better. But hey, here I am now, and I see that the hand of the Lord was with me every single step of the way. So keep praying, keep trying, keep believing. Your trust in God will grow, your faith will grow, and you will make it through this hard time. I also, on top of that, again, challenge you to keep a journal during this time, to reflect on the times in your life where you have had spiritual experiences, on the times of your life where you knew God had helped you. Think back on those times when you are in a moment of weakness and having a hard time trusting God. Think back on those times. I know you can see it's like dark outside, so I just want to wrap this up and just let you know that I hear you, I see you, I feel you. I've been where you've been, where you are wondering, what's the purpose and why do I have to go through this, and when will it end? That's the question I always ask. Like, when is this trial going to end? Because the end I foresee is not good. So let's just get it over with, right? I hope you know that there are good things ahead of you, and that when we trust God, anything is possible. In my deepest, darkest moments of my life, if I was there completely alone without God, it'd be a different story, and my life would have taken a different direction. So I hope that these 3 just reminders, more than anything, of keep praying, keep trying, and keep believing will help you through that moment. So leave me a comment down below. Please know you can always reach out to me on my Instagram. You can send me a message, or there's my email down below. I honestly try to get back to every single person that sends me a message. Sometimes it gets lost in like the notifications and all that stuff, but I do see it, and I do respond, and I do think about you. So please, if you are in a crisis of faith, if you are in a moment that you need a little bit more support, please send me any of your coaching questions. And I hope that this video has been helpful. So wishing you an amazing night, and I'll see you in my next video. So, Abby J out.